Out here on the farm, out here with the grapevines, man. So, most people look at this as some bad ones. Most people, when you would ask them where do grapes come from, I mean, they'll tell you that they grow, but most everybody who lives in America have never been on a farm, never worked on a farm, and never seen where their food actually comes from. And I've been blessed enough to be able to come to the land of Yasharal, what some people know as Yisrael. I've been blessed enough to come out here, and I get to see where a lot of our food comes from. And I wanted to start off my first, my blog, first video showing the grapevines, because I think that is something that a lot of people know from scripture. And a lot of people think of Mashiach, or Messiah. Some people know him as Christ. But this is a lot of the things that he spoke about were parables, and it was about agriculture, which most of us really don't know about anymore, because in America we're kind of locked in, boxes. We're kind of stuck in these concrete slab boxes, and we're basically away from nature and what Elohim, or some people would say God, but I'm gonna say Elohim, the Creator, the Most High. What He created and what He intended to be. When we go back to Bereshit, which some know as Genesis. In the beginning, it said that He created everything, and it was good. And it was good. So of course, then man began to create things. But anyway, that's a different video. That's a different segment. But yeah, so I want to talk about the grapes, and I know we have a lot of things that's been going on now. A lot of protests, a lot of things going on with the NFL, Colin Kaepernick, and some of us are saying we should protest, some of us saying no. I even have a cousin that said he gonna go to road games, he gonna do it, he don't think this is the way to do it, and I got other cousins that I see, they say, man, these white supremacists can gather, they can gather for, we don't even know what they gathering for. They gathering because somebody took down a Confederate general, Robert E. Lee. They took him down, and they said, wow, we got to stand up because we're under attack. We see that mostly any other racial group, they can come together and they can stand together. But us, it's hard. It's hard. And in the words of Mashiach, Messiah, his words, he said, a house divided, it can't stand. It shall certainly fall. And that's what we are, Even the two posts between my cousins yesterday, one said, we can't even turn off the TVs for one day. And my thing is, like, we don't even have to turn off the TV for one day. We really don't. All we need to do is just not put it on channel 411 or ESPN, or all those things that show the NFL. But of course, us, we're gonna do what's convenient for us, most of us. And then you have those some who do think and do care about us as a whole. So you'll have those that stand up. But if we cannot unify for one common goal, man, we'll never be able to make change. And I seen something on my wife's page today, and I was like, man, this will be the first thing that I speak about. And it's the fact of us getting our own. That is the best way to protest. My cousin, he told me, he said, welcome to America, man. This what happens. And I told him, and I said, hey, but that's why I left America. Because whether we like it or not, You know, I've heard a lot of my family, a lot of friends, and people that are just around me. You know, they stand proudly and say, "Oh, I'm an American," but we don't realize, or I don't know if we take it into consideration that we didn't go to America by choice. That the way that our ancestors got there, most of them, was getting off of a slave ship. And listen to me. Getting off of a slave ship that they were forced upon, that, you know, that they said over 90% of them died coming from the ships, but they didn't care. They just kept shipping them over. You know what I mean? And the ones that survived, they survived. And they were branded. And now we are still branding ourselves with their stuff. You know, whether it's Tommy Hilfiger, who don't want us in his clothes, or Polo, you know, who don't want us in his stuff. We still gonna break our necks to try to go get it. Whether it's Michael Jordan, somebody who has the same skin color as us, but you know, his biggest business is private prisons. But a lot of people don't know that because they don't research. You know, they too busy on Facebook laughing and playing, and everything's a joke. You know, as long as you know, their son hasn't been murdered, or you know, nothing has affected them personally, you know, it's all fun and games. But I say, I'm making this vlog, man, to say, go out and get your own. Like, let's get back to doing actually, you know, what our forefathers did when they brought them over here. What if they brought them over here for, or not even over here because I'm in Israel now, but they brought them to America, to England, to the islands. They brought them there because of what they could do in the fields and how they could survive in the sun. Now I'm in a place in Israel that's actually, if anybody knows anything about geography, they would know that shoot, Africa is just a hop, skip, and a jump, or what we know is Africa today. Matter of fact, the next video I'll do is actually I'll go to another place and I'll show you that I can see Mitzrayim, or what they call Egypt, right here in the desert. Now, we all know that Egypt is Africa in modern day, but we don't know that up until 1859 that Israel and Yemen and a couple other places right here was actually considered a part of that continent, which is Africa. But now we have a whole different color of people here. But anyway, we know that you have to have melanin to be out here in this sun and live in these parts. Otherwise, you know, things happen to you. But all that to say this, man, my people, it's time for us to actually get back in the fields and listen to what I'm saying. It's time for us to get back into the fields, but not for somebody else, for ourselves. And right now, even though I am working on a farm for someone in Israel, I've already purchased, me and a couple other partners, other people that have the same mind, have purchased over 100 acres of land in Zambia, where the Bantu live. And who the Bantu are is they're actually a group who's quite different from the other Hamim, or the other Hamites. You know, most people believe them to be, and research has shown that they are ancient Hebrews, or ancient Abrim. It shows that they are like the ancient people of this land who actually left in 70 AD. So, you know, it's time for us not only to get our own stuff, but it's time for those that have been called to this calling to get out and get our own stuff and wake up our people, man. So now we are more educated, you know, in the ways of the Europeans. We are more knowledgeable than our parents and our grandparents. So now we have to start asking ourselves certain questions. Um, and I'm so thankful for being out here in Israel because it has gave me a new perspective on life. I've been around, you know, Muslims. I've been around the Jewish people, and I left America where my family is mostly Christians. And what it has shown me is that um, in the framework of those three religions, that pretty much everything everything goes back to one source, which is Torah, or what Christians know as the law that's done away with. Which we know it's not done away with, but it all goes back to that, man. But I want to challenge people to think. We have to not only do things for ourselves, not only build up our futures for our children, but we have to start asking, especially those of us who are waiting for salvation, or looking for salvation. We have to ask ourselves, is what I started off with, is what I was given as a child, is what my grandma told me, what my daddy told me, is this the truth? We have to actually go back and start reading the actual book that was given to us called the Bible. I'm going to make this one quick point, and the sun is leaving me here, so I got to get out of here, but I want to make this one quick point. When we were in school, when we had books, nobody told us, okay, go to the 200th chapter, because what's in those first 199, those are old, and those are done, those are over with, and this is the new thing. No. When we were in science class, when we were in social studies, when we were in math class, whatever you want to name, we all had to start from the first chapter. And even with us, when we look at our lives, it's no way that you can be 10 if you haven't been 9. No way you can be 2 if you haven't been 1. So a lot of the framework of these things that we think we know and we believe, we don't have the framework. We don't know from the beginning. We have to know the beginning in order to know the end. So let's just challenge ourselves, man, to go back and see what's real. We have to go back and claim our dominion. Claim our dominion of this place. A lot of people, they get complacent and they get used to a certain way of life, and I was a product of that. But something just came into me and told me it's time to go. I mean, I have a 4-year-old daughter who I care for dearly. I love her to death. But the Mashiach, the Messiah, said that, hey, you give up those who have given up children, husbands, wives, they shall be blessed in the resurrection. And the thing about me now is that I believe the word, I believe the book. So I know by me actually leaving and actually going to establish something for her, actually going to establish something for my future children, that she may have an inheritance. If the time comes that I may leave here, she can have something with her name on it, rather than me staying in America and trying to see her the little times that I did. But I'm actually trying to build up something, not only for my daughter, but for our people, period. I think it's time for us to start telling our own stories. It's time for us to actually see that Africa is a continent. It has so many different countries, excuse me, so many different countries, you know, whether it's Zambia, whether it's Zimbabwe, and those two used to be Rhodesia, but of course colonizers came in and changed it. But whether it's Gambia, whether it's Ivory Coast, whether it's Cameroon, whether it's Kenya, they say that we're African Americans, but what country did we come from? Anyway, that's another broadcast. But much love, man, family. Like I said, we're building up. We're trying to get back, man. We're trying to get back to our roots. And any help, any support, you know, that any of my family, friends, loved ones have, I mean, we would accept it. We don't care if it's pennies. We're going to accept it because, you know, we need it. We need it, and it's no way that we can succeed without each other. So this is just a call for all of us to start trying to think as one. Try to come together as one and stop being so separate, man. So family, love y'all. Much peace, much love, and y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. For those who watched the entire video, I thank you, and there will be more to come. Hallelujah. Shalom.